Everyone has that favorite character, be it a protagonist, a supporting character, or even a villain. Some of them are so iconic that they end up giving life to the story, right? And the character we're going to talk about in today's video is somewhat like that. Jill Valentine is one of the most beloved characters in the franchise and, along with Chris Redfield, starred in the first Resident Evil. Jill's journey throughout the franchise is full of twists, discoveries, and surprising arcs. I don't know if you already know, but she played a crucial role in the investigation that led to the definitive downfall of Umbrella. Her last appearance in the franchise was in the animation Resident Evil Death Island, which takes place about 1 year after the events of Resident Evil Vendetta and 3 years before the events of Resident Evil 7. Welcome, it's a pleasure to have you here. Stick around because today I'm going to tell you a bit about the story of our dear Jill Valentine and everything that happened to her in her fight against bioterrorism. Well folks, Jill was born in 1974 and, despite being only 23 years old in the events of Resident Evil 1, she was already a member of the Raccoon City Police Department's Special Tactics and Rescue Service, the famous STARS, a kind of elite police team. She quickly caught the corporation's attention for being very skilled in lockpicking and bomb disposal. She was so good with locks that she even earned the nickname Master of Unlocking. It didn't take long, and she was recruited into the Alpha team of STARS and immediately sent on a rescue mission for the Bravo team. Here's what happened. The Bravo team was sent to a forest near Raccoon City to investigate a series of bizarre murders. But they had trouble with the helicopter and were forced to make an emergency landing, losing contact with the Central. And that's where it all begins for Jill, folks. Along with the other members of the Alpha team, Chris and Wesker were there by the way, she discovers, in the middle of the forest, a huge mansion that housed a secret laboratory serving as a front for the giant pharmaceutical Umbrella to conduct tests and develop biological weapons. The unfolding of this story is probably already known to you. It's the events of Resident Evil 1. Jill uncovers all the secrets of Umbrella and also discovers the betrayal of Albert Wesker, who was there all along as a double agent working for Umbrella Corporation. The surviving members of STARS escape by helicopter before the laboratory's self-destruction system sends everything sky high. When they return to Raccoon City, both Jill and Chris, Rebecca and Barry request the police chief to investigate the pharmaceutical company. Chief Brian Irons refuses to investigate Umbrella's alleged crimes. After all, he had been bought by the company a long time ago. And here's an interesting fact, guys. Jill and the other surviving members of STARS who went through the incident at Spencer Mansion became a joke within the police force and the city. No one believed their story. Zombies, monsters, and biological weapons? It was impossible to believe, especially the fact that Umbrella, very famous in the city, was behind all of this. Well, Chris heads to Europe in search of clues that could finally incriminate Umbrella, but Jill stays in the city and dives headlong into her investigations. By the way, folks, here's another detail that few people know. During the events of Resident Evil 2, Jill is in Raccoon City investigating Umbrella, trying to piece together the connections between Umbrella and the horrors of the mansion. Well, Jill discovers clues to a secret laboratory located in the city's underground. But before she could conclude the investigations, the outbreak occurs. The T-virus is released in the city, and all the terror she witnessed happens again, but this time spread throughout the city. With Raccoon City being destroyed, Jill needs to escape, but finds out in the worst way that she's on the hit list of none other than Nemesis, the most advanced biological weapon of Umbrella, considered the perfect biological weapon. The monster's mission was to track and kill all surviving STARS members still in Raccoon City. During the city's quarantine, Jill joins a group of mercenaries working for Umbrella who, theoretically, were there to help evacuate the city's civilians. Jill collaborates with them, albeit reluctantly, and knowing that this probably isn't the real reason they're there. While seeking a way out of the city, she is relentlessly attacked by Nemesis. In his relentless pursuit, the monster infects Jill with the T-virus, and she enters a kind of coma for 2 days, with Carlos Oliveira, one of the mercenaries, keeping her safe during this time. Thanks to Carlos, Jill manages to survive. He finds the vaccine and administers it to her. The two end up separating in search of ways to escape the city. And they only manage to escape after the final battle against Nemesis, when Jill manages to bring down the creature for good with an experimental railgun, in addition to the classic point-blank magnum shots. So, she and Carlos manage to escape the city by helicopter just before the explosion that wiped Raccoon City off the map. Jill's next appearance is in the game Resident Evil, The Umbrella Chronicles, which, for those who don't know, retells the events of Resident Evil 0, 1, and 3 from Albert Wesker's perspective. One of the stories told in the game shows Jill and Chris traveling to Russia to investigate an Umbrella facility. There, besides finding a not-so-dead Albert Wesker, they also find enough evidence for the government to take legal action against Umbrella Corporation definitively. Despite their success in bringing down the company, fleeing employees, or even traitors stole many samples of biological weapons, and you know what happens next. It didn't take long for them to appear on the black market. That's when the BSAA starts to emerge, an organization created to combat the bioterrorist threats that were beginning to appear. Jill is among the founders of the organization. A few years later, in a period between Resident Evil 4 and 5, Jill got involved in investigating another bioterrorism incident, this time in the city of Terra Grigia, orchestrated by the Veltro organization. The BSAA, along with another bioterrorism combat organization, the FBC, were responsible for thwarting Veltro's plans. The terrorist organization threatened to use 3 ships to contaminate a large part of the planet's oceans with a new strain of the T-virus, the T-Abyss. Jill and Chris uncover a conspiracy that actually happened to develop the T-Abyss and use the resolution of this incident to gain influence and money. These were the events of Resident Evil Revelations, folks. The year after the T-Abyss incident, the BSAA locates Ozwell Spencer and sends Chris and Jill to intercept him and try to extract from him the location of Albert Wesker. After all, both were international fugitives, but upon arriving there, they discover that Wesker had just killed Spencer. By the way, folks, I'm going to bring a video here to the channel telling all the details behind this meeting between Wesker and Spencer. So, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned. A fierce battle begins, and the duo discovers that the former traitor and double agent now had superhuman strength, speed, and reflexes, capable of dodging bullets and fighting them with an overwhelming advantage. The battle ends with Jill sacrificing herself to throw Wesker out the window to save Chris. BSAA forces patrolled and searched the area, but neither of them was found, and both were declared dead. All of this happened during the Lost in Nightmares DLC, folks, which precedes the events of Resident Evil 5 and is part of one of the franchise's most important periods, in my opinion. After all, this is where we find out about the effects the T-virus had on Jill's body. They both survived the fall. Wesker ends up capturing Jill and keeps her alive so he can use her as a guinea pig in his experiments. He discovers that after being infected by Nemesis so many years ago, Jill had developed antibodies against the T-virus, and that was crucial in the project that led to the creation of the Ouroboros virus. He used Jill as a kind of special guinea pig, using her antibodies to refine the virus strains and select the most effective ones. In addition, Wesker made her a guinea pig for another project to test a drug that would allow him to control her. He created a spider-shaped device and placed it on Jill's chest to inject the drug regularly. This way, she becomes his right hand in combat in the Kijuju incident until she is rescued by Chris and Shiva. After that, folks, Jill's last appearance in the franchise was in the Resident Evil Death Island animation, when she finally returns to active duty as part of the BSAA team, almost 9 years after the events of Resident Evil 5. Apparently, she spent all this time in a BSAA rehabilitation medical center to recover from the traumas caused by Albert Wesker. After all, she had been infected with many types of viruses and experimental drugs, in addition to the mind control she underwent, right? In a rare record we have about this period, she describes a desire to get better soon so that she can return to active duty and combat bioterrorism as soon as possible. And that's what happens in the animation set on Alcatraz Island. An improved version of the T-virus appears, and for the first time, all the franchise's protagonists appear together to combat the terrorist threat. The most important thing about this animation, guys, besides Jill's return, is the precedent it created when it revealed the ability Jill developed to age slowly. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, soon I'll bring you another video telling you everything. You will discover that the future of the franchise may hold many more surprises than you imagine. Chronologically speaking, after Death Island we already had the stories of Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village, and so far no sign of Jill appearing again, so the mystery remains. Where is she? Is she still with the BSAA? It's been almost 6 years without any news of Jill. Will she appear in a new game in the franchise? Resident Evil 9 perhaps? Well, I'm sure Capcom is preparing a surprise for us, and my guess is that Jill will be in it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel because it will help a lot with my work here on YouTube. I'll be leaving now. Thank you very much, and until the next video. See you!